going to step out of the way here.
And you can move that recycle
Yeah.
bin if you want. Just feel free to toss that out of the way if it's in your way.
Okay, we're good to go.
Alrighty. You want to start with introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Kristen Leonard. I am the Chief Public Affairs Officer for the Port of Portland.
And I'm Dr. Stephen O'Connor. I'm the Social Equity Program Manager for the Port of Portland.
Perfect. And what does the Interstate Bridge mean for the Port of Portland?
The Port of Portland operates several major pieces of infrastructure here in the region. We have Portland International Airport, several marine terminals, and then a lot of kind of workforce and industrial land bases. So what's really important to us is the movement of people and goods in an efficient and safe way through our region.
And would you like to expand on that?
No, I think she captured it very well.
Perfect. And then experience, the Port of Portland's experience using the bridge. Does it impact your mix of goods and services? How does it impact it? And you want to expand on that?
You know, interestingly, over a third of our not only Port of Portland employees, but also a lot of our travelers and other customers and community members we serve live in Vancouver and in the Southwest Washington region. And so this bridge is our connector. It's our tie to our neighbors and our communities in Southwest Washington. And it's important for not only moving people, but moving goods between our two states and our two regions, or the region, but between these two places.
Absolutely. And what role does equity play within this project? Why is it such an important role? And how can you expand on that?
Yes. So the Port of Portland believes that, first of all, you know, having a bridge that is can serve everybody equitably is very good to our region. And also, equity is important because previously we know that communities of color have been excluded to contribute to how the region can be provided transportation. And we believe that this time around, if we can listen to communities of color and invite them to the table so that they can contribute to how the bridge can be delivered is very important. And for us, this is where equity comes in. Equity is about providing people with equitable access to transportation options, and this is why we believe that the time is right to have a bridge that can serve the region, including the people, and include people that have been traditionally excluded from decision-making processes.
Absolutely. And then with each of your roles, you're in different committees and advisory groups with the program. What are your priorities within those respective committees and groups, and what do you want to hope to move forward from the Port of Portland's perspective? What would you like to see in a replacement bridge?
Well, a couple things as it relates to just what would the role and what I will say with my role is making sure that we're hearing all of the voices that we need to hear throughout the region of those impacted by a replacement bridge, and that those different considerations are looked at when bridge design is put together. So continuing to keep an eye to whose voices are and are not at the table, and how do we make sure we're hearing from everyone on the impacts. As it relates to particular design elements, the Port of Portland is not, we do not have the, here is the magic design, or here is what we want to see as it relates to design. What we would like is a lot of that community input, feeding a design that is safe, efficient, accessible, and serving the region in all of those different ways. And so we have Dr. Nakana serving with us on one of the committees. We have someone from the port serving on the climate committee, all with the intention to make sure we're taking into account all of the different impacts and to the design and moving forward with replacement.
Anything else from your perspective, and what translating and equitable bridge design, what does that really mean? What does it mean to explore communities of concern and ensure that it serves them?
Yes, that's a very good question. It really just starts off by asking ourselves a basic question. If we go with the bridge design, how is it going to impact or benefit people that are situated differently within our region? And this is why the port believes that applying an equity lens to the decision-making process can at least put us in a position where we can determine, as Kristen indicated, those impacts and figure out innovative ways of either mitigating or understanding how we can address as the bridge is designed and implemented. And one other thing where equity is concerned is that this bridge is going to play an economic role, and so it will facilitate the movement of people from one place to the next. And if we have a bridge that serves everybody's needs, then we know that there will be community benefits that can be enjoyed by everybody, especially if we center equity in our decision-making processes. And this is why the port is in support of the bridge replacement, and also in support that people like myself can serve on the Equity Advisory Committee.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'm just going to check my prompts, but that covered a lot of kind of holistically what we want to cover, so we wanted to dive into specifically any additional messaging that you guys have.
Perfect.
With the messages, we can do that.
Perfect, and I'm going to want to redo I tripped over the industrial lands piece, and it's because our talking points kind of we've just always talked about that we own and operate some large community infrastructure assets, Portland International Airport, multiple marine terminals. Sure. That is me. I am so sorry. It's no worries about answering it. Let's try that again, shall we?
Yeah.
Are we?
You want to wait till it goes? And the other, one of the last prompts that I hadn't asked you yet was any messages that you have to maybe fellow organizations, fellow community members on encouraging them, or what you'd say to them to engage in the process. So you could direct that at leaders, you could direct that at community members to activate them to get involved in that way. But if you want to revisit your...
That would be great. So the Port of Portland is, let me start again. I've said it so many times now. The Port of Portland owns and operates multiple assets here within the community, and infrastructure around Portland International Airport, several marine terminals, industrial lands throughout the region. And so this bridge will facilitate that continuous need for moving people and goods throughout the region.
Absolutely. And to revisit that last prompt, what would your message be to fellow community leaders and organizations in respect to the Interstate Bridge and their engagement?
Yes, one of the things that is a core value for the port is to listen. And so, we want to invite people so that the people whose voices traditionally have not been heard to be present at the table, to share, so that they can provide input to how they would like this, to see the bridge be delivered. And it is something that we support, and we invite anybody that is interested to share what kind of bridge they would like to see or what kind of service they would like to see is something that the port would support.
And I would also add, it's really no longer a question of whether or not we need to replace the I-5 bridge. 2 decades worth of research and analysis into the assuring we've got a safe and efficient way of moving people and goods has shown us we need a replacement bridge. So I think the Port of Portland is really hoping that we move forward from that question of whether or not the bridge needs to be replaced and moves to a space of, okay, what does a replacement look like that provides that safe and accessible, efficient movement of people and goods throughout the region, and really looks to what are we going to need as we grow, expand, how do we make sure that we've got the infrastructure in place for a very vibrant future in our region.
And the only thing I'll add to that is that, an earthquake is being expected to happen. And so replacing the bridge will help us ensure that we have a bridge that could be seismically resilient. And what that means is that if the earthquake would happen after the bridge is built, well, we can recover quickly because we can facilitate the movement of people to safety. And so having a bridge that is seismically resilient, I think, is an important goal that is part of the I-5 bridge replacement.
Wonderful. Perfect. That's it from my
Okay.
prompts. So if we want to
Anything else?
but I mean,
No, the only thing that I picked up on was I tried to do the new version of industrial lands, and I don't have that down yet. Employment land. That's and I'm like, oh, workforce.
We didn't touch on shared prosperity, should we?